Alright, YouTube. Hope you guys been out there building shit. Believing in your hands. Getting them dirty. Earning your keep. Earning your money. Earning your worth. Your self-esteem. Your value for the day. Every day you should accomplish something that makes you feel good at the end of the day. That makes you feel accomplished. Whether it's learning, whether it's building, fixing, creating, whatever it might be. Do something that fulfills you. Do something that, helps somebody. Just every day find something to do. Even on this lockdown, there's ways that you can be productive, man. Get out in your yard. Do something. Fix something around your house. Build something nice for a family member. Or do an art project for them, Stay positive, guys. So, I shot a lot of this footage a while back. And, but starting out, I'm going to take you guys around to different building supplies that I've collected. And I've got some in storage, some in a storage box, and some just sitting out on the property. So I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff that I've collected up, and we're going to get to building a cheap pump house, because I was doing junk removal and dump runs for a while, and I just collected all this stuff up. It was stuff that I saved from the landfill, and this was a direction that I was really trying to take a nonprofit, but I really couldn't get anybody else to see the vision. So I'm a little bit stumped with it right now as far as the nonprofit side. So, anyways, hopefully maybe this video will get a little bit of attention, and who knows? So, stay tuned. Alright, so I've salvaged all these pieces of siding and stuff from jobs taking stuff to the dump. Really, I've got some pretty good size ones, and I think we'll be able to build ourselves a decent, like a little 4x4 foot box or something with those scraps that I've got. And then this, I figure, we'll cut in half. I'm thinking just like a 4x4 by 4 foot tall or so, little pump house deal. So if we'll cut that in half, I might even do it like 3x4 or something. Haven't really quite decided yet, just so that we know that we'll be able to make it through the, we'll have enough pieces and whatnot. But I'm going to measure a couple of these and kind of better my plan. Got plenty of these beams here for whether we're going to use those as flooring or, like under the flooring, I mean. And I don't know if those are ground contact, general use. So probably use that as like a post too. But of all these, we can figure out at least the floor joists. I'm thinking maybe these two for floor joists. And this is what's dictating all of it, is these pieces right here, which it looks like I've got 3 of these. No, 4. Right? 1, 2, 3. We got 4 of those, so I'm thinking that that's probably what's going to dictate the size of the shed, is those. Alright, YouTube. So I went to storage today, grabbed the 4x4s, the 4x6s, this door down here, and that sheet of subfloor, and this little piece of metal flashing. Figure we're going to use all those. And then there was these 4x4s too. I already cut them down, and I'm starting to use these. I'm going to use these as the corner posts of the pump house, of the inside of the building, instead of using 2x4s. So people are probably going to think, well, why would you use 4x4s instead of 2x4s? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I got them for free. Somebody paid me to take them to the dump. They're perfectly good. They're perfectly usable. So they're going to be what is going to be building the walls of my pump house. So, and then to round out the supplies that we purchased, we got some 2x4s from the wood yard, and then we got 4 sheets of 4x10 shop siding, but it's the blemished pieces, so the edges are messed up. But I'm not actually going to use the edges. I'm actually going to, you know, skinny these down a little bit, and I'm cutting off the, you know, I'm cutting them down to size, so to speak, so it's not going to affect me at all. So all told, you know, after taxes and everything, for the 10 2x4s and the 4 sheets of that, $80. They were like $13 each. Woodland Wood Connections, if you're, you know, anywhere around Southwest Washington, Woodland, Washington, great place to go. They always got blemished stuff, cheap stuff, whatever. So pick those up. So the whole plan, like I said, is to use these as the corner posts. That's going to be the, you know, one of these will be the front, one of those will be the back. I got them marked where I'm notching for the 2x4s, and then I'm going to knock those pieces out with a hammer and smooth it out, and then I'll transfer those marks over to these longer ones, and so that we can connect with 2x4s from a front one into a back one, front one into a back one. So stay tuned. I'll show you as we go along. Alright, YouTube, so I'm just going to give you a couple quick tips. Not saying that I'm an expert, I'm just figuring this out as I go, and I really don't even have plans. I've just got some basic measurements on a piece of paper, and you know, I'm using free stuff, so, you know, free leftover scrap 4x4s and different stuff, so I'm just kind of making it up as I go. But I chopped off a piece of this 2x4 just as a measuring block, to where when I marked out the lines on my 4x4 posts, I just ran a line on each side of this. I know that when I cut that out, this is now going to fit in it. When I set up my saw, I set it up with the depth of the blade to the depth of the 2x4, so that the depth of my cut, once I knock those out, are going to fit. So now, show you guys how we're going about these. Once they were all clamped up and cut like I showed you, basically just taking a hammer and knocking them loose like that until we knock them out. And then once they're knocked out of there, if there's any bigger pieces, kind of it helps to it helps with some of the bigger pieces to use like material, and just kind of break them the rest of the way out like that. And then the next thing that I figured out, and granted, I'm not going for finished carpentry here, I'm not going for a cabinet or nothing, but I'm just using this. It's a little Milwaukee hacksaw, whatever, and I'm able to smooth it out and get it to fit. And then I test up with my same little scrap, and so that I know that I've got a nice little fit. Got a nice little fit. Well, that one's a little loose, but you get what I'm saying. Alright, YouTube, so I laid these all out, and I looked at the, you know, the damage and whatnot. And again, reminder, I paid like, I think it was $13 a sheet for these. They're 4 foot wide by 10 foot long, but they got damaged edges. So once I got these laid out, that's a piece that I didn't want, so I measured to where on this side piece, I'm now not going to use that. It's basically waste. But I mean, it would be nice if I could use the 2 other pieces as sides of another building or something, a little tool, you know, maybe lawnmower shed or something, you know, who knows. But so again, so that one's waste, that one's my good one. Now on this one, I've got it marked across. Probably can't see my mark very good. I just scratched it with a screw. But anyways, I've got it marked across to where it's just below this. You can see my black mark though. And I'm not gonna end up using that stuff. And then on these ones, I found the two best edges, which I decided was this edge, made it up to this edge. And so I'll cut off this edge and that edge to get these to the 45 width, or the 45 inch width each, that I want them to make up my 90 inch width shed. And the reason why I'm doing a 90 inch, you guys are probably like, why didn't you just use a 4x8 sheet? I'll tell you why. Because of the amount of tin roof that I've got that's salvaged. I've got 4 pieces. They're like 46 inch by what, like 23 wide or something, 24 wide, something. So, or maybe it's a little more than that. Yeah, I think it was like 26 wide or something like that, to where you got a little bit of overlap and they cover 24. But I've got 4 of those, so that's why I'm doing the size of my shed the way that I'm doing it. Alright, YouTube, so we've got this 4x8 sheet of subfloor cut down. Took a strip off the side, so now it's 40 inches wide and it's 90 inches long. Okay, so this is our junk pile. Those are going to be our end pieces right there. We've got our posts over here all notched out and stuff. We're going to have 2x4s as cross pieces and whatnot, to hold those posts up. And then we've got this, and I messed up my measurement by 10 inches, and so we're gonna have to, I've got enough for my back wall, but my front wall is not gonna be exactly right no more. But that's fine, because I've got that salvage door that I'm gonna use and whatnot, so it's gonna work out. So we're not gonna get too down on ourselves or negative about that, you know. But now it's time to start assembling stuff. Now I've got you know, my main pieces, but I've got to make some 2x4s and cut them to the length of this as my cross pieces, and some, you know, for between the 4x4 posts to keep them evenly spaced across the floor and whatnot. But slowly but surely we're getting it. Alright, YouTube, so we're in the living room of our house right now, building this. Why? Because it's out of the rain, out of the mud, out of the crud. So we basically got the frame all done. You can see the 4x4 posts in the corners and how we made it fit up here. We just screwed it together and stuff, but we're not screwing the whole thing together quite yet, or sturdy. We've got some strategic screws to where this back wall is going to come off, and then the side walls are going to come off, and in the front wall we're going to build in place. And we did kind of mess up. We put the end one on the wrong side, or the cut on the wrong side for our piece of wood was supposed to go at the edge, but we'll improvise, we'll figure it out, and get that put together too. But the next step, we're going to just screw these back panels on, and I didn't cut them to the exact height because remember I messed up, but we're going to put them on, and then I'm going to put another 2x4 up like this, to where I know that when my my rafters that are going to be up here, that my wood will just cover them too, and it'll make a complete box, you know. So I'm going to go ahead and get these screwed on to start with. Alright, YouTube, so these two pieces I fastened along the bottom, I fastened up the middle, and I fastened along the top, but not all the way to the end post and not down the end post yet on either side. That way we can pull that whole center section out away, and it's supported with the long pieces all the way along, like a big H like that. Should be good for transport. And I know my middle's not great, but we've got a 2x4 backing behind that, and we're going to put something over that, some sort of trim or something over the center anyways, and some caulking, so it'll work out. Alright, YouTube. So first we took the back wall off, and before we did that though, we marked along the edge of the post so we know how long that needs to be now without going too far. We also marked how tall this is going to be with the rafters. We went ahead and cut that off. Same with the other side. Got rid of all of our excess. So now that's first piece ready. Alright, YouTube. So you can see I left that piece just for indexing these legs when we put it together. Kind of help us a little bit. When I put this together, these weren't out this far this way, as you can see, because that goes down further. I ended up taking this end off. So since I ran that all the way down, which is going to cover my floor joists. These are not my floor joists. These are just some scraps that I had that I'm using to keep this up right now. And that's why I didn't cut them to size. Instead, I just left them long. And I went ahead and pushed them this way so I could do the same thing with this side. And get it all done. And it's all screwed on. So now I'm going to disconnect the couple screws that I put into these posts where I can take this end off. And again, I left this board there for indexing the legs. And then we're also going to cut off the excess along the side of this post all the way up. But remember, I did this stuff on purpose because I got, you know, blemished boards and stuff. I cut them down a little bit to size just to get it into the house and onto this stuff. But then, I mean, I'm not perfect at cutting. I'm not the straightest at cutting, so it's better for me to get it on the item and then kind of mark it and go from there. So we're going to go ahead and get this one cut off too once we get it out. But there it is. There's basically the bones to our shed. As I said, I'm going to do the front wall one, you know, build it in place in the roof. But there's the basic structure.